Okay, so I'm going to review The Doors of Perception by Aldous Huxley. Great. So this is a book I've been meaning to read for at least 12 years. Okay, I remember starting reading it when I was around 16. So it's even more than that. But I haven't finished, and I bought the book 2 to 3 years ago already, and I just finished it today. So I read it in 2 days or something. It's very short. It's a great book. Okay, so what is it about? It's a very famous book. It's based on a quote of William Blake, and that is, if the doors of perception are cleansed for a human being or something like that, everything will appear to men as they are infinite. So it is basically his experience with mescaline, which is the drug you can find in the peyote. The peyote is a cacti or cactus that was used by some Native Americans as a part of their rituals, like their religious rituals. And his experience was recorded by a researcher. Aldous Huxley's experience was recorded by a researcher, and he was there with the researcher, which apparently was a friend of him. I didn't really look up what was the relationship with him, and also his wife. And then he listens to his recording, and he wrote the book based on that recording. So actually, I've read How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan. I have seen many of his talks and podcasts. Also, I've seen some of the work done by, I don't remember, this reporter from Vice. What's his name? It's a Jewish whatever. So I'm just fascinated by psychedelics. So it really surprises me how these things were already known back then. And it's basically just, first thing is how the psychedelic experience, what it does, it takes you away from your ego. So you feel like some sort of ego death that they call that experience to that. And he also talks a lot about art, and I think the reason why he talks about art a lot is because, like, paintings, through paintings, some painters have expressed the feeling of what he tries to portray of his experience taking mescaline, which is just staring at the things as they are and accepting the things as they are without our very human capacity to think about the future and see ourselves in connection with everything else. And he describes how his connection or what his thought process or his feelings when he saw his pants or something, and it was something very revolutionary for him. Also, he looked at a rose or something, and also he explains that sentiment of just looking and staring at to thing itself, das Ding as an sich, right? And at the end, he makes good points, I think, about how we as society will always look for some sort of mind alteration. I don't know what's the translation there, but it's like we've always looked for mind alteration, right? And he talks about how all religions have a relationship with drugs, and how Native Americans actually included the experience of the mescaline, of the peyote, in their culture, and by doing that they suppressed a lot of the human urgencies. I don't know if that's okay to say, but like our human anxieties, angst, to think about the meaning of it all and all of that, and our place in the cosmos, I think. And sometimes what happens in Western culture is that we can see how much, and he talks about this, how much how much like alcohol and tobacco, and I would even add caffeine to that list. But we go to these drugs in order to alter our minds, and we use it as a placebo to suppress these anxieties, but it's not meaningful at the end of the day, because we use it hedonistically. We don't use it to have a meditate oh my god to have a meditation behind it. So yes, it's very interesting, and highly recommended. 4 out of 5, I think. Yeah.